Welcome, friends, to this 3-day program in Corfu, Greece. I am very happy to come to this beautiful island of Corfu. Not only is the weather good, views are lovely here, and shows how the Creator has not only created great beauty inside us but also outside. It's a way of looking at it. People who are enlightened do not only see beauty inside, they also see beauty outside. Inside and outside are considered the same for those who are enlightened. Enlightenment means knowing who you are, your own self. It's a great privilege for me to come to this country, Greece, which produced some of the greatest philosophers and mystics that we have known so far. People who have been teaching us the truth about our own self. Socrates and his exponents, Plato, other great inventors, Archimedes, Diogenes, the name is endless of the Greek contributors to our knowledge. And therefore, I feel it's a holy place for me to visit, and I'm very grateful to Spiros and his co-workers who helped to bring me here to Corfu. Enlightenment does not mean that you wear any particular kind of clothes, that you have something external. Enlightenment means that you know yourself, you know who you really are. That part of you which never dies, was never born, and is continuously part of the Creator. When you know that, you are enlightened. I was once going on a pilgrimage along with some other pilgrims to a famous pilgrimage in India called the Amarnath Yatra. Amarnath is in the hills, Himalayan hills, and there is a natural cave in which the water drips through the hole in the mountain in a cave and creates a snow form of Shiva Lingam out of snow. Since it's created by nature and not made by human beings, people worship that as a true symbol of Shiva's presence on this earth. I went there along with many other swamis and other worshippers of Shiva, and I found that they were either dressed in saffron-colored robes, in white-colored robes, or they had put ash on their body, ash-covered bodies. I asked a few swamis who were working with their ash on their body, and I said, "Why are you wearing ash on your body?" They said, "Because our Guru told us that we should put on ash on our body." I said, "Have you any idea why the Guru told you should put ash on your body?" They said, "No, Guru's hukam is hukam, and we just follow his orders, and therefore we put ash on our bodies." I said, "So far as I know, ash is only put on the body as a reminder that this body is not going to last forever. It is going to be confined to the flames and will become ash." When I asked the same question to those who were wearing saffron-colored clothes, "Do you know why you are wearing these clothes?" They did not know either. They thought this is just a uniform prescribed for their particular branch of yoga. And I said, "This is only a symbol that this body will go into the flames." These symbols were created so we remember this body is not ourselves. It is a very temporary vehicle we have, very temporary cover upon ourselves, and we'll go away one day, all of us. There is nobody permanent in this body. There have been so many great mystics, great saints. They came, they all left their bodies behind and died. Nobody became immortal in their body. Therefore, this body is not ourself at all. And these reminders, when they wear the reminders, if we don't remember what they are for, it becomes merely a ritual and a ceremony outside. What the trouble is that we have been taught these spiritual truths throughout the centuries, everywhere in the world, but we have converted spirituality into a series of rituals and ceremonies and external things, and therefore forgotten what true spirituality is. We even have forgotten what the true meaning of these rituals is, why they were introduced. We don't need to cover our body with ash or to put on saffron colored robes. We should remember, without these aids, that the body is temporary and will not last forever. When you misidentify yourself with this body and think the body is yourself, you make a very big mistake, because then you start experiencing the world as the only reality. You think there's nothing else except the material world around you. This material world is being experienced by you only because you have a physical body. The physical world does not exist except for those who have a physical body. If you leave the physical body, something else opens up and not this physical world. Therefore, by constantly reminding ourselves this body is not ourself, that ourself is something else that is making this body alive, if we can remember this without wearing any particular clothes, we are truly on the way to enlightenment. So when we are enlightened, we discover that not only is this body not ours, even the other faculties we have, like the faculties of sense perceptions, the ability to see, ability to hear, touch, taste, smell, these are all faculties which are just worn by us like a body, and they are a body. We call it the astral body. The astral body is not really anything different, it is the sense perceptions in us. When we separate the sense perceptions from the physical body, we call it the astral body or the sensory body or the suksham sharir. It does not mean that there is some other body living somewhere else. It's the same body having these sense perceptions, and those covers are called by that name. We have another very important body, and that is the body that thinks, and we call it the mind. The human mind is not something separate, it is part of ourself, it is part of a covering upon ourself. But these are covers. The thinking machine we call the mind is a cover upon ourself. The sensory perceptions we experience life through at many levels, including the physical level, is another body upon us. The physical body is finally the body that we work with in the physical world. The physical world is very important for us, because when we are covered by these three bodies and are in the physical world, then the physical body functions as if it is the self. What makes it the self, or the feeling of being a self, is it can think and decide things. It has a feeling, it has free will, that it can decide upon different options open to it. It can deliberate. Using the mind, it can think what to do. Therefore, it looks like we, the thinking machines, are able to make our own decisions and perhaps our own destiny also. This illusion that because we feel we have free will makes us feel that we must be the ultimate creators of our own self. And therefore, it's the most misleading thing for a person to believe that just because you are in the physical body and you feel you can make a decision what you will be doing, where you will go, nobody knows, only you can decide, therefore you are the final maker of your own destiny. I had a very strange experience one time in India. I had gone to appear for an interview for the Indian Navy. When I came out of the interview, I met one gentleman who was wearing a turban and long hair, and he told me, "Have you got a piece of paper with you?" And I said, "Certainly." And I gave him a piece of paper that he wanted to write something. So he looked at my eyes and was writing something. Then he folded the paper and he gave it back to me in my hand. And then he said, "Do you have more paper?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Now you write what I will ask you." I said, "All right." He said, "Write a number between 1 and 10. And I said to myself, this is a trick that we used to play as children, that when you tell somebody write a number between 1 and 10, the most likely number is 5. And I think this guy is expecting me to write 5. I am going to call off his bluff this time, and so I wrote 3. Then he says, "Write the name of a flower." I said, "The most common flower people write is the rose," and he is expecting me to write rose. But I decided to think of a flower that does not even grow in that area where the interview was taking place. So I thought of an unknown flower we call chameli. It's actually a type of jasmine. And I wrote in the Indian word chameli, spelt it in English letters, Chameli, chameli. He said, now write your date of birth. So I wrote 1926. He says, that is your year of birth. I asked you to write the date. So I wrote the date after my year, which is not normally done. The year of birth is written afterwards. He said, now you open the paper I gave you before I asked you these questions. And I opened the paper and it said 3, Chameli, 1926, and then the date after that. I was completely taken aback because I said, how could he write these things when I had not even decided what to write? While I was still in a state of shock, that man says, shall I tell you something more? I said, please go ahead. He said, when I asked you to write a number between 1 and 5, you said, I am going to call off this man's bluff and I will write 3. He knew the exact sequence of my thoughts by which I took a decision. He said, when I asked you to write the name of a flower, you said, I am going to call this man's bluff off and think of a flower he hasn't even heard of. And then you wrote chameli, which I have written beforehand. And when you wrote date of birth, you wrote your year first. And I knew you were going to write the year first. I said, please, you are a great man. I am very impressed with you. Will you tell me how you do it? He said, it's a particular kind of yoga. We are a group of people called bhatras, and very few are left. And all we have been taught through our yoga is how to read a person's mind 5 minutes ahead, not 5 minutes behind. That was not the important thing. The important lesson I learnt was that what I thought I am deciding here has been written somewhere else already, from where he could read it, before I could even think of it. My feeling that I had free will existed from the fact that I did not know what I am going to decide. I thought I am deciding now, at this time, and not that it has already been decided somewhere and therefore this man, Bhatra, can tell me all this. It was a very big awakening for me that what we think is our own free will is merely existing because we cannot look at the future. Even if we could look at 5 minutes ahead of us, we would know we have no free will. It looks like free will because we go through the process of making a selection out of options. And because we decide this or that, therefore, we think we have free will. If we could see the whole of the future, we would discover that the free will which we think belongs to us does not belong to us at this level. Maybe it did belong to us somewhere else. In meditation, in the art of enlightenment and self-discovery, as Socrates said, know thyself. When you know yourself, you find that your true self is the one that really wrote out what you are deciding now. It was really your will, but not your free will as a human being. Where was that written? It was written where you had real free will, from where the whole free will of the entire creation was written. It was written in our true home, where we, as individuated souls, as living forces, belong and are continuing to belong and are continuing to connect with that. Our true home, which we call Sachkhand, or true home, is that where there is only totality of consciousness. There is only one consciousness. There has never been any separation. That state has never been created and never will die. We belong to that state. And from there, for the sake of varied experiences, we have individuated into different forms and become individuated souls. The souls have not been separated from that, but they have been separated for experience only. Again, I'll remember when I was a young child and I was on this path because my family was on it, I was a little disturbed that maybe I never got a chance to examine all possible avenues and all possible paths for spirituality. And just because my parents are following this, I am following it. So I really rebelled against this path. And for many years, I sought every other path that I could find to discover what the reality and the truth is. During that period, some satsangi, that means a follower of the Satmat path, told me that, you know, we are individual souls. We are like drops of the ocean. We have been separated for millions of years. And our job is now to find a perfect guru, a perfect master who will help us to go travel back to our true home, the great ocean, and we will merge in it. And as a skeptic, as one who was very rational in his thinking, I said, this is the most stupid thing to do. If I am a drop of water, drop of ocean, I have some identity. What will happen if I go and merge in an ocean? The ocean gets nothing with one drop and I lose everything. It's not a win-win game, it's a lose-lose game. What kind of spirituality is this? This was the first shock to me, that this is what they're talking about, and they call it the path of spirituality and path of masters. It gave me a big reaction. If we are individuated now and have a personality, we are enjoying something, we know what to do, we have been separated, but we find that there is great company around, there is great creation around. What are we doing by trying to go and merge in an ocean? And what does the ocean care for one drop? But I was mistaken. This is not the true situation. This is not a correct description of the journey. The correct description is, we are a drop of the ocean, but in the ocean itself. We never left the ocean. We are the ocean. We became the drop for an experience. And the spiritual path does not involve any journey. It only involves the journey of awakening more awareness. It is to awaken yourself to an awareness that you are the ocean. And this takes on step by step when we discover that our soul is not separated from the ocean. It has always been part of the ocean. We are the ocean. That the drop is merely a current experience we are having. And this experience came because the ocean and the drops were together. When you look at the ocean outside, it all consists of drops. What size of drops are they? Are they tiny drops or big drops? It all depends on the level of awareness. Supposing you become least aware, you become a small drop. You increase your awareness, you become big drop. You increase your awareness to the fullest extent, you become the ocean. We are not drop in the ocean, we are the ocean now in a drop. Therefore, this discovery changed the whole thing. That means the spiritual path is not a journey. It's a journey into our own self. It's a journey into expanding our awareness to the level where we can discover we are our own totality. And the own totality, the only single consciousness, has real free will, because the whole show was set up because of that free will of the real self. And we are part of the real self. Right now, when we say our destiny has been made by ourselves, yes, but not here. Here, it has already been made. We're living through it. This destiny we go through in life has several parts. It's very interesting how it has been set up. We have free will to do things in which we have a mind to think and decide, and before we can decide, we are placed in circumstances over which we have no control. We are born in somewhere, we have no control where we are born. We meet people, we have no control over them. Where we move, what jobs we take, are all opportunities created around ourselves. So when you look at life, look at a human life, you will see most of it, 70–80% of it, is already fixed by circumstances not in our control. Within those circumstances, we are operating to use our little free will, the feeling that we can decide. So free will being used is a very small fraction. What is this large destiny we come with? We call it pralabdha in India, and that means the fate or destiny we are born with. As soon as we are born, we know where we are born, what life we will have, and we develop our life accordingly. No choice. Then in between, all the events that happen, accidents happen, accidental meetings happen, marriages take place, children come, all kinds of events take place which are already there, written up. This pralabdha contains the entire history, but it leaves gaps for us where we can use our imagination, use our thinking machine, use our discrimination, and then make decisions. That is the only period when we create a new decision and the consequence of the new decision. This was a very clever trap, that you should be able to decide and face the consequence of what you decide. And in order to decide, a certain machine was attached to our own minds, our own conscious deciding factor, our own thinking machine, which we call conscience, which means the moral self in a human being to decide this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. So when the conscience comes up and we do something, we know inwardly this is good, this is wrong. So we define our own actions, which we are using in those little gaps of free will, and we say, oh, this was a bad thing I did, and we carry guilt. Oh, this is a good thing we did, we carry expectation of a reward. But that's exactly how this new law now comes up and operates, called the law of karma, which means that whatever you do, if it is good, you get rewarded. If it is bad, according to your own judgment, your own conscience, if it is bad, you must be punished. So because of the reward and punishment, this series of experiences becomes almost permanent. And we are continuously making decisions and continuously creating these actions, which we in the law of karma call the Kareman actions, or new actions, or new decisions made with free will, which carry punishment and reward. And the punishment and reward can come in this life, later in life. But if it is too short to take care of the punishment and reward, it can move on to another life. But it never goes away then. They don't cancel each other. People think that we can atone for a bad deed by doing good deeds. That is not how the law of karma operates. You will notice that people have good things happening in life and bad things at the same time. In fact, all human beings have a mixture of good and bad events taking place in their life. That is because if you have done good things, you get rewarded for that. If you have done bad things, you get punished. They don't cancel each other. And that's why our human life has become a mixture of good and bad events in our life. If we had all good karma in a former life, we would not be here. Because there are very beautiful places like heavens created in the astral plane, non-physical astral plane, where in a disembodied state we could live and enjoy forever. If we had done all bad things in our life, there are other places like hells also existing in the astral plane where we could be punished forever. It's only when we do both these things, good and bad, we get a human life. But is it a good thing to do both things to come for a human life? When we look at human life, we find there is one good thing about it. In fact, that good thing in human life supersedes all the bad things that we can think of. And that good thing is that the very free will we have, the very experience of being able to decide we have, whether right or wrong, whether true or not, the feeling that we have free will and we can decide, that makes us a seeker of something beyond what we have. It makes us a seeker of truth. It makes us a seeker of our true home. It makes us a seeker to get out of this mess. That's the most beautiful thing. Now, when you look at nature and all the forms of life around us, you will notice that there's only one form in which we can have this great privilege of seeking, and that's the human form. Human physical form is the only form in the whole of creation where we can seek and find. If you look at all other life forms, forms which have the same souls, soul is merely the unit of life that makes everything living. All living things have the same soul. The soul is no different. The plants have souls. The insects have souls. The birds have souls. Mammals have souls. They all have the same souls. Angels have souls. Gods who are running universes above in the heavens have souls. And all the souls are the same, identical. But when you are in those forms, a tree cannot decide what to do. Insects go by their instinct. Mammals go by their instinct. All animals, all birds, all are going by their instincts pre-programmed in them. None of them is sitting and saying, should I do it or not do it, except a human being. In the Indian scriptures, there is a list of the species that have been created with life in them. And the list is a very long list. It has 8.4 million entries. That's a large list. Out of that, about 5.4 million are in the plant life itself. And only in the last category of 400,000 species does the human being figure. Out of 8.4 million species recorded there, they say there's only one form in which you have free will and you think you decide for yourself, and that's the human form. But what about angels? They have no free will because they know the future. If we knew the future, we would lose our free will also. When we go to the higher level of consciousness through meditation, we lose our free will. We know the whole thing was decided by us in another form when we were just one. So therefore, this experience in the physical world of a physical body in which we can make a decision to seek something, that's very unique only to human beings. And since human beings can only be created when they have a mixed karma of good and bad, therefore when you look at it, it's not a bad idea at all that we were good and bad combined and became human beings. Because now we got a chance to do something we could not have done in any other state. So that is why they say that the human being is made in the image of the Creator. When we say man is made in the image of the Creator, it does not mean that the Creator also has eyes and nose and ears or has a body or something. It only means that we have the experience of free will. The Creator has free will and we are one with the Creator at all times. To be the Creator, to be one with the Creator is the goal of all true spiritual journeys, true spiritual paths. When perfect living masters come here, and I say perfect living masters because the perfection lies in the fact that they have gone beyond the mind into permanence and no birth and death takes place for them. Whatever changes cannot be permanent and therefore they are beyond that. They've gone beyond their own mind. All things that are within the mind change. All worlds created, all universes created at any level of consciousness, they change. But what is beyond the mind does not change. And therefore, these perfect living masters, they come from that state of consciousness where nothing changes. And they are perfect in that sense, that they don't have a temporary stay anywhere. They are living in their true permanence. They are living because they are in a human form at which level we have free will to seek. So they can join us and help us in the seeking. And masters because they guide us how to seek. Perfect living masters are the ones who take us beyond our mind, beyond the temporary worlds that are created at all levels of consciousness, and they take us to our true home. So these perfect living masters are of course very rare. They are very rare because our seeking itself is always for small things. Mostly we seek things which are good for us right in our current experience. We are seeking things for worldly experiences. We are seeking good things right here. Most of our prayers are for things right here. Very few of us really are saying we are tired of all this. We want to go and find something more real. Perfect living masters come for those who are really seeking to go back home and even go back beyond their mind, beyond their thinking, beyond their desires. This is something very unusual and therefore they are also very rare. But there are many masters who can help us with external things, who can use their powers to guide us and give us great fruits right here and enjoy them. There are masters who can also show us the way in and tell us how to go into heavens. There are masters who can even take us higher and can take us to where the whole creation of the mind is being made up, where the causal self exists, where our ultimate destinies are being written, which we call the causal plane of consciousness. It's interesting that people talk of Akashic records or Akashic records, and I have often wondered, how do they know about these records? The truth is that whatever destinies we have here, which are destinies in time and space here, they are all created in the causal level of our mind. The mind creates all destinies here. The mind in its universal form is a great negative power and creates all these things for us, almost like a copy of what our original creator created in form of souls. So the universal mind creates individual minds and attaches them to each soul. This action is being taken at the second level of higher consciousness, which we call the causal plane, which is accessible through meditation. And there you will find that all the records we have of our destinies here are stored there. We did not have to write anything. All possible permutation combinations of life that could be created have been pre-written, and all we did was that when we descended from our true home and decided to have new experiences, we just picked up one destiny. I often refer to it as a collection of DVDs, that we had a lot of DVDs which could be played out, and that becomes a human life. So we decided to pick out one DVD, and we are playing it out right now. It's a very interactive DVD. We are not only watching it, we are participating in it, and we are in the middle of it. And therefore, this experience of picking up our own destiny as a DVD takes place at that causal level. The DVD is a very interesting thing, because when we come, say first time, of course there is no time before we come, but once we come in the realm of time and we say this is first time we have no karma at all. And you cannot have a life here without a karma to account for all the destiny here. So how can we have a first time entry into this world when we had no karma at all to start with? The soul has never any karma, the mind carries the karma, and we are coming into this world. So we bring a DVD with karma of past life attached to it, which we have never lived. We come here and we are playing out a karma because we picked up that DVD. The only karma we did was, only action we did was to pick up the DVD. Once we picked it up, we came here and found we have a past life, because that's how the current DVD has been created. And the past life could not be created unless there was another past life. So one DVD of one life, we come here and create millions, trillions, infinite past lives, so that each can be accounted for the next life. We are here on, and they all become our past lives. Similarly, because of our actions in the current DVD, we have all future lives, infinite future lives. It's amazing how we can enter into a time frame in which it appears we have always been here. It's just like, if I were to give an analogy, it is like going into a dream state. Supposing you have a dream at night and you feel you have gone to a new planet, a new country altogether, you will see the planet, it's existed for millions of years. How long will it exist? Millions of years. And you wake up and see the dream lasted 7 minutes. In 7 minutes of wakeful time, you created millions of years in your dream. It's the same way that we come here and get right into the middle of a time-space spectrum that is already pre-existing because of our DVD we picked up for one life. So some people say there's only one life. I agree with them. Some people say, no, we have endless lives. I agree with them. They think I'm contradicting myself. No, if you go to the causal plane, you will find there is no contradiction. Most of the contradictions people point out to me is because they are combining the information from different levels and trying to apply them here. They don't apply here. You will notice that the different things we say depends upon what level you are talking about. There are several levels of consciousness through which we can go through meditation, and that is the advantage of following the spiritual path, that we learn how to meditate to go within ourselves, not only so far within ourselves as to know what our future is. We can go sufficiently within ourselves to be unaware of this body. We can go sufficiently through power of concentration, of attention. We can go through these two gifts. Gifts given to us by the Creator we didn't acquire anywhere. Attention exists independently of any training that we get. A newborn infant puts attention through the eyes, you can see where it's looking for. Attention and the power to concentrate it where we like are the greatest gifts for any spiritual aspirant. Anybody wanting to do some spiritual exercise, the most useful and perhaps the most wonderful starting points are the use of attention and the power to concentrate that attention where you like. We are using it every day. We read a book, we put our attention on that book and we understand what the book is saying. We watch a movie, we go and watch and put our attention on the screen. Whatever we want to experience, we put our attention there and then we concentrate. We have noticed that when we concentrate our attention, other things become less significant for us, less apparent for us. If you go to a musical concert and hear different instruments playing, and you say you like the drums and concentrate on the drums, you will notice that all the other instruments become dim and become low in volume. They have not changed at all. Your attention can do that. Your attention can make your awareness highlight one thing and subdue everything else. This power of putting your attention wherever you like and subdue everything else is the most useful thing, and we use it in meditation. Because in meditation, we can put our attention on ourself. The self that lies inside us, which is providing the life to us, which is consisting of the powerhouse that makes the mind think, that makes the senses work, makes this body active. That self which is inside us, if we put our attention on that by saying, who am I really? Not these covers, who am I? We put our attention and concentrate it there, we can find out. So these are very useful two gifts given to us, the power of attention and the power to concentrate our attention where we like. So when we use these powers within ourselves, we discover who we are. But if we put our attention on outside things, then we remain outside. What is outside and inside is all depending upon our attention. There is no difference in anything outside or inside, it's only that we are putting attention outside. The world is existing for us because we are scattering our attention outside. The more scattered it is, the larger the world for us, and the larger the worldly experience for us. If we want to find who we really are, we can turn it around and put the attention within ourselves. There is one problem. All our life we have been taught how to focus attention. We focus attention on a book, we focus attention on a teacher, we focus attention on friends, we focus attention on what we are doing. We learn how to focus attention, which means how to put your attention out of yourself. Now you can't focus attention on yourself by using the same method, because focusing attention involves taking your attention out. People have made this mistake for years and years after learning how to meditate by still trying to focus their attention, thinking that by closing your eyes and focusing attention on something, you'll get anything. How can you? You're still moving away from yourself. Therefore, there is a difference in focusing attention on something and withdrawing attention to yourself. The process is different. The process of withdrawing attention is totally different than the process of focusing attention on anything. People close their eyes and want to say, we are inside the head, and they make a little picture of themselves. There we are sitting, little realizing that what they are watching is outside of themselves. It's in front of them. And very often they even make a mistake by thinking because the eyes are closed, therefore we are really looking at ourselves inside, whereas you are the one looking at that image, not the image. And then where are you? You don't put your attention on that because you haven't learned how to withdraw attention to yourself. Withdraw attention to the point from where you're looking at that little image of yourself. People have spent years and years and they tell me, we got nothing in meditation because we keep sitting and doing the same thing. If you make a little mistake in meditation and continue to make the mistake, how will you get anything? That is why one of the very big advice to those who meditate is to have constant guidance from somebody who knows, somebody who has already traveled on this path, somebody who has experienced all these levels of consciousness, somebody who can call a perfect living master. Guidance by such a master helps you to cross every one of these difficulties. Otherwise, you sit on your own and keep on doing the same thing and making the same mistake. I am saying this to you because I have met thousands of people, not hundreds, thousands of people, initiated, knowing the methods of how to go within. not succeeding in it because they have not understood this one little point, that it's not focusing of attention anymore, it's withdrawing attention to yourself. I myself had this problem. I was initiated by a perfect living master, the great master, Hazur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji. And for many years I made the same mistake that I am talking about now, and that's why I'm talking about it. I had to go back to the master and say, Master, I keep on meditating and keep on doing this, and sometimes I see flashes of light, some colors and all, but I wanted to know who I am. I'm not getting any advance in that at all. He said, you are making this mistake, that you are not withdrawing attention, you are still focusing attention. Withdrawal of attention is different. So I said, Master, I must have missed out something during my initiation or during my learning of this process. I must have missed out something. He said, yes, you did miss out, that you do not have to see yourself. You can't even see your body. You can't see your own eyes. How can you see yourself? You can't see yourself. You have to be yourself. You have to be yourself, and be yourself where your attention is going out from, which is right behind the eyes, between the two eyes, in the center of the head. That's where you are notionally operating from. When you look at the world, where do you look from? You look through your eyes, where you see two eyes and they join together to make a three-dimensional picture. But where are you seeing from? You are not seeing from the eyes, you would see two pictures. Where do they combine? Behind, in your head, where you feel you are there. And it looks like it is behind, somewhere behind the eyes, exactly. It is behind the eyes where, as a conscious human being, you are currently sitting there. And that is exactly from where you have to operate, which means be there. When you say concentrate your attention on the self, it does not mean that you see something, it means be there in the center, which means that feel that this body is around you, feel that this head is around you. It does not require seeing anything at all. It requires the feeling that you are pulling yourself and you are behind, and the rest of the body, nose below, is below you. Very fundamental first point. And we make the mistake on point 1. How do we expect to have point 5? How do we expect to make any further progress when we make the very first mistake? So then he explained to me further. I said, when I try to go to the center and feel there, it really puts pressure on my eyes, and I sometimes get a headache. He said, it is an imaginary process. Imagination is another gift given to us. Imagination can make us feel where we are. Supposing we want to imagine that we are sitting on top of this building. Right now, you can imagine we are there. No pressure on the head, no pressure on the eyes. If we want to imagine we are standing in that corner, we can all imagine we are there. It's very simple. It's just an imagination. If we can use imagination to be anywhere we want to be, why can't we imagine that we are sitting in a hall, in a building, in a house made up like a human being, and we are in the top 6th floor of the building behind the eyes? It should be easy. Yes, if you use imagination, that you are there, and concentrate on what is happening there. Concentrate your attention on what's happening there, and you will start your journey. This is a very interesting point that I wanted to share with you, because I spent years, wasted years, in meditation without being able to make a progress, and I thought this is something that it's the very starting point. Actually, on the spiritual path, if you if you are lucky to have initiation from a perfect living master, you have great guidance available to you inside. You have great guidance when you can see your master inside and he takes you from there. The problem is only in the beginning. The problem is only in the very beginning, the very first few steps. And if we take them correctly and have the radiant form of the master inside, who is waiting for us inside, from there he takes over. So the problem is not what happens in causal plane or Sachkhand or Bar Brahm or those regions that we described. The problem is right in the beginning. And if we take care of it in the beginning and take care to go to the point where a master takes over, it's great. Now, if the master is to take over, why doesn't he take over from here? That's a legitimate question I had also asked, that if the master says, I am waiting inside you, why can't you come outside and help me? He said, I am right in front of you. He is here right in front of me, till I can go there. He's not saying that I'll only see you there. He said, it's the same one. He said that real master is sitting inside you. Since you close your eyes and don't see your real master, that is why you're seeing a physical form of a master. The physical form is a projection being made by your own mind. You are making a projection of the real master who is inside you, outside, just because you don't know how to see him inside. It's a simple thing. So my question was answered, that if there's a perfect living master alive talking to me here, and he's guiding me how to reach that point inside, that he's there both ways. He's helping me right from the beginning. So then he told me that the power of imagination can be used like this. And I'm giving you exactly how my master explained to me, because this is a very important initial part of good meditation. He said, raise your finger up like this. Think you are sitting on top of the finger. Can you do that? I said, yes, that's not difficult. Any problem with the headache? No. Any pressure on eyes? No, because I'm imagining I'm there. Okay, now bring it down. Are you still there? Yes, I'm still there. Okay, now jump in. There you are. That made it easy. I discovered that's the same imaginative self that I am creating that has to be there. That's me. That's me that's there. That's me that's inside. That's me in the head. A good starting point. So when we do good meditation, effective meditation, the starting point is very important, that we imagine we are there. How many of you would like to do this in the afternoon today? Because I would like to say that we should practice something that I talk about. Okay, very good. Good, a lot of volunteers. Later on, I'll do some meditation exercise with you so that we cross this very first hurdle, because then things will become very easy after that. Now, this is a path that takes us through many levels. And there are many masters in this world, and they teach us how to go to these levels. A master can only take you up to the level where he or she has gone. Nobody can take you beyond. The reason for that is that each level, which is higher than the physical level of awareness, looks final and real. Looks like that is Sachkhand, our true home. When we withdraw our attention and become unaware of our body, which is like dying while living. I get so many emails that people are afraid of dying. I got some this morning. They say, we do meditation, but then it looks like the attention is being withdrawn and we are dying. So we give up. We are so afraid. The truth is that you do not die. This exercise, meditation, properly done, does not kill you. It only makes you feel that you are leaving the body and you are separated, which does happen when you really die. And that's why the experiences are very similar. When you die, if you have seen people dying, what happens is, it is their attention, their awareness being pulled from the world and then from the body. When they die, they don't know where their feet are, where their hands are. Gradually, they don't know where their legs are and where their arms are. It's a very process. It's a stage-by-stage process of death. And then the awareness goes, they're still talking to us. People who are dying slowly, if you see them in hospital, they'll be telling you, move my leg this side. The leg is already there. Can you put my arm this side? Arm is already there. They'll become unaware of it. And they're still speaking to us. When the attention or awareness goes through the torso and they cannot speak anymore, then they're still alive. That goes to the head and their brain dead, then they're gone. And the body is dead. The process of meditation is like that. The process of meditation to withdraw yourself to discover who else is inside you, what your real form is almost the same. Except that you don't die and your vital systems continue to function the same way. Your breathing goes on normally, your heart beats the same way, all vital functions are there. Only you are now simulating death. You are creating an artificial experience of withdrawing your attention. The more you focus attention on yourself behind the eyes, by the method I was talking to you, Gradually you will not know where your hands and feet are, where your legs are, where your body is. And after a while you will feel you are still there, but you become very light and you can step off and look back and see physical body is still meditating and I have walked off. How can I walk off from my own body? You are still in the body, but you have an experience where your sense perceptions, the capacity to see, capacity to hear, capacity to touch is being transferred wherever you like through imagination. That possibility is there right now in all of us. It's not something unique in a particular group of people. This path is open for all human beings without any distinction. There is no particular nationality, no particular color of the skin, no particular culture that is required for this. It's just that you have to be a human being and you've got all this. It's built into a human being. This capacity to go into that level opens up a new world that you see with those sense perceptions without the body. What happens? You are able to see things as if they were the ones without matter. You see the original world, of which this world is a copy, a dense copy made out of matter. The ability to see that world, and then you can clearly see that all the things you have here are also there. All the people you have here are also there, and many more. So this is it's a great experience to be able to go to that level, and is possible by simple process of withdrawing your attention and going there. It doesn't end there. You can withdraw in that body, the same process, within the head of that same body. It's got the same shape as this body. It doesn't follow laws of gravity. It can fly. It is not attached to anything. It's luminous. And in the sky that opens up in this new world, without the physical world, the light is already there. Some light is always there. Light is being created by things that are in the body, in the world there. That means everything is luminous. It's an amazing experience from the physical point of view, but that's a normal life there. And we are leading that normal life right now, except we are covered with the physical body, so we are confined to small events of a physical nature. That's what's happening. When you reach that point, you discover that that self of yours, the self that is carrying the perceptions, the self that can see, is not this. It was that self that could see, that was planted inside this physical body, which made this body see. These eyes don't see. The eyes of a human physical body only see because there are astral inner body functioning which can see. If these eyes alone could see, you could never have a dream, you could never imagine anything, you could never have any visualization at all. Where are you seeing from when you visualize something? Where do you see dreams? These eyes are not seeing them at all. So this seeing is something different from eyes. And that seeing is coming from the astral state of consciousness, from that astral body of ours, which is implanted inside this body. You can separate, have an experience of separation. You don't really separate, but you can have experience by shifting your awareness from this body to that one, which is done by withdrawal of attention from this body onto that. And where do you do it? One point. This is such a simple method. I sometimes wonder why we make it so complicated. Maybe the mind likes complicated things. Simple method that you are in the physical body operating from a notional point behind the eyes. You imagine you are there and pull your attention there through various methods which we will practice later, by imagining and by pushing the mind's thoughts out and so on. Once we do that, gradually we come to know that we have that body. When you have that body, what about the memory? In this body, we only remember things connected with this body. We remember what food we ate, we remember very little. Most of the things we forget. But whatever we remember is related to this body. What would we remember if we had that body and not unaware of this? We will remember our life in that body. That it existed prior to where we were born. That it was much earlier, it was already there. Maybe thousands of years. The average life in physical years of an astral body is 1,000 to 3,000 years. That's the average there. That means you have been reborn in many forms several times with one astral body. If you were to meditate in the same way with that astral body, you would then find you can become unaware of that also. You can become unaware of sense perceptions, and all perceptions combine to give you always direct perception of whatever is happening without the need of separating them into seeing and touching and tasting and smelling. They all become one, and then you are entering your mind, your causal body. And then you discover with your own memory, not somebody else telling you your Akashic record, you remember yourself, who you were, for how long you were. The mind in physical years has a life of several million years, 3 to 5 million years each mind lives, but it dies. It's born and dies. Astral body is born and dies, except they have longer life. But the same mind can continue to provide so many astral lives and so many physical lives. So it's a very unique situation where you discover that you have a body inside you and a body within that body which has such a long life and can recall and remember what all you have been through millions of years. And this is available right now when we are sitting in a human body here, because we can seek that and find it. No other form can ever get this experience. We are the lucky ones born in this body where we can have this experience through so-called free will. And the free will is the seeking to go and find that. Up to that point, this is all worlds of space and time, all worlds in which duality exists, all worlds in which negative and positive both exist, good and bad exist in all the three worlds. Perfect living masters are those who say they will take us to their true home where none of these exist, that we have to transcend all these three. And they pull us by a different method. The method that can pull us out of an astral causal body or physical body beyond the mind is something that arises from beyond the mind. The mind has power to reason, logic, thinking. None of these work beyond the mind. The mind confines us when we use only these powers to discover ourselves. The power that extends beyond is the power of love and devotion, power of intuition, power of appreciating beauty and joy. These powers belong directly to our soul and not to the mind, not to any of the bodies. They are our true faculties. The true faculties of the soul are love, intuition, joy, beauty. These come automatically. You cannot learn these anywhere. They are automatic in ourselves. They all come in us. Even with these covers, they arise in us, but we don't use them because we are swamped by too much of mental activity. We are swamped by all the physical things and by mental things, and therefore we don't allow our true self even to operate, although it's right here. If we live in a life of love and devotion, we would really be able to cross these. Masters take us beyond, perfect living masters take us beyond through love and devotion and nothing else. They don't come here to teach us how to be better people. There are a lot of other teachers doing that. They don't come here to tell us how to go into heaven or hell. A lot of teachers are telling that. They don't come to tell us how to go and see the Akashic records and your past and future history. Many others can do that. There are many of them. They run in thousands, those who can do that. These few handful ones who come here are only for the seekers who want to go beyond this kind of knowledge and want to go back to a true home from where there is no birth and death, which is our own soul that goes beyond the mind. And they are the ones who pull us through love and devotion. Nothing else works. These systems of meditation that we were employing here to concentrate our attention, to repeat words, to keep the mind thinking, not thinking anything else, and to listen to sounds inside, all these are methods to go to the point from where a perfect living master through love and devotion can take us higher beyond the mind. So there are different rules on which we can base our meditational techniques. I have experimented personally with several meditational techniques for the simple reason that I had a rebellion against following this particular spiritual path of my own master, because I thought I was being forced into it because of my parentage, that I was born there, therefore I am getting this. And I noticed around myself, my other children around me, that they all followed their religion not because they were convinced what is right or wrong, but because their parents followed them. That we were being conditioned right from the beginning into thinking in a particular way. So I said I must explore. The good thing that happened was that when I got initiated, the great master himself said to me, he said, what I am going to give you is what I got from my master. It has worked for me. I hope it will work for you. If you find something better, take it. He didn't bind me down. He didn't say, oh, you now belong to this culture, this group or this thing, therefore you can't run away anywhere. He gave full freedom. Go and explore, whatever you can find. Whenever you find anything better than this, take it. He also told me, please do me one favor. If you find something better, come and tell me, I'll also take it. These are words of the great master. And I took him very seriously. I still do. If I tomorrow find out something better, I'll take it. But what I discovered in my entire life, I have been initiated for so long, more than 7 decades, and I have watched all these things and gone over all over the world and looked at all the different practices that are going on. I find not only nobody has been able to give me anything better, they've not even been able to describe something better. Even in description, even as an intellectual program, the intellectual process, they have not been able to show anything that can be better. So, I am very happy. I found the best, and I want everybody else to find the best. So, that's why this is not a path where you are bound. It's not a cult. It's not you're bound down that you have to follow this and otherwise you can't do. No, go and run, find anything better. Try. People ask me today, can we do pranayam along with this? Can we do this kind of yoga? Go ahead. There's a good friend of mine. He was teaching some breathing techniques, and he said, should I give up? I said, this is not a religion that you have to convert to a religion. There no conversion of religion is required on this path. This is a self-exploration, discovery. Indeed, it is the truth of all religions. All religions indeed say that the truth is inside you. Go and find inside. So there's no divergence here that you have to change your religion in order to follow a spiritual path. You can follow your religion, follow it carefully, go through it and see what the original founders of religion said. And don't think religion is the ceremonies and outside thing that we do. They were introduced later. The truth is, go inside and find out. Anybody can do it. Any age can do it. Any gender can do it. Everybody can do it. So therefore, this is a gift. And we have to make use of it if we are seekers. If we are not seekers, we don't need to bother about it. Once a gentleman came to me, he said, you are talking about these internal regions and all that, and they're very attractive, but I am very happy right here. Why should I go and explore those? I said, you don't need to. Go and enjoy yourself. This is not for you. This is for those who are fed up of this. You are very happy, so go home, enjoy. After 1 week, he came back and cried, and he said, my life is the most unhappy one. I said, last week you were very happy. What happened to you? He said, last week I was talking about that I have a nice house, I have got a lot of money, I have got a lot of these things. But I didn't tell you how emotionally hurt I am when my girl left me. I can't tell you how bad I felt when this happened. Then he told his emotional story, which seemed to be more important for him now than all the good riches and homes that he had. So that is why our life does not have all happiness. Nobody has. Otherwise, we wouldn't be human beings. We all have a combination. Some appear to have more suffering in their life and less happiness. Some appear to have more happiness. That's appearance. Because the truth is that suffering and happiness are very balanced in our life. Why we feel we are suffering more than we are having the good times is because suffering seems to extend the time of suffering. There was an author, Oscar Wilde. He wrote an essay on suffering. His opening sentence of the essay was, suffering is one long moment. When we suffer, time seems to be endless. And when we are happy, time just passes. When we are sitting with some friends, playing cards or some game or chatting away, and we can be sitting together for 2 hours, Nobody's legs are tired, nobody feels uncomfortable, we are very happy, and somebody says, how long have you been sitting? Maybe 15 minutes. When we try to meditate, go against our own will at this time, that it's a hard thing to do, and we sit and we say, how long has it been? Time doesn't pass. Other suffering is like that too. There was a friend of mine in San Francisco, he invited me to stay in his house. He was an old satsangi, an old follower of a master, perfect living master. So he said, oh, I'm very happy, Ishwar, you are my master's master, something like that. And I'm very happy such an old satsangi has come, we'll meditate together. I actually thought I'll have good night's rest, but now to keep up with him, I had to wake up at 3 o'clock. He put the alarm on his timepiece and we got up at 3 o'clock for our meditation. Now, he's sitting next to me, I am here, we are both meditating, and he said, we'll meditate 2.5 hours. It's a prescribed time. I said, okay. I was not too much in prescriptions, by the way, I'll explain to you later. But since he said it's prescribed 2.5 hours, I said, all right. Now he was meditating, but every now and then I would open my eye and from the corner of my eye look at what he's doing, out of curiosity. And every time, I don't know what a coincidence it was, every time I looked, he was looking at his watch. I kept quiet, we were meditating 2.5 hours, and I don't know how many times I must have looked at him. At the end he says, thank God, we had great meditation. I said, yes, my friend, we had great meditation, but you meditated on your watch, not on yourself. This is what happens, because it doesn't look that time is passing when you're doing that. Because of the differential of how time passes for us, we sometimes think our life has more sad periods, more difficult periods, and less good periods. Actually, they're pretty good, well balanced. Also, the balance is between tangible and intangible things that happen. Some people have great riches and great material things. They have less happiness. Their personal life becomes very difficult. And those who are very happy can be very poor. I have seen all kinds of people. When I try to examine them, I see it's a particularly fair distribution of karma of different kinds amongst us. But we can get over all this stuff if we feel we have had enough of it. A seeker is not one who just seeks. A seeker is one who says, this is not my thing. I am done with this. I want to go home. We did not come here to suffer. How could we come here to suffer? Nobody comes to suffer. We came here for adventure. We came here to see a different kind of experience. The souls came here to have an adventure. How many types of experience we can have? Every body that we created ourselves, the astrals, causal and physical, they were all designed to create different experiences for us. And we knew we'd have the experiences like going to a carnival, have the experiences, have the rides and come back home. But we got so caught up with the little toys that we were seeing here. If you go to an amusement park and there's that Ferris wheel going around and you fall in love with that and say, I want to buy it and keep it with me, you'll be lost. You only went to have a ride and go back. That's what we came for, to have a good ride in a different kind of experience. An experience where there can be a duality, an experience where there can be pairs of opposites which don't exist in our true home. We came in this world of pain and pleasure to see both sides and get a good appreciation of our own original state. People say, why did we come here at all? We came here so that we can appreciate our own state. Appreciation was the motive, that we appreciate who we are, where we are, and let's have another experience to better appreciate this, so we came here. We didn't come here to get stuck and suffer and forget who we are, forget where our home is, forget all that. But thank God we made some arrangement before we came to go back home. I saw a movie at the suggestion of somebody. I don't normally see too many movies, called Inception. I don't know, some of you might have seen Inception. In that movie, a person can go into a dream state, and in the dream state, you can go to further dream state, dream within a dream, and so on. And what I noticed was so significant was, because it is really true, of our dreams also, all dream states, that time is very different in different states. What you can have a dream of 5-6 minutes here and think you have spent a lifetime. In 1962, I went to United States and got a fellowship and went to study in a sleep institute where they were studying dreams scientifically. They put all the electrodes on you and they would see, watch your eyes for the rapid eye movements, and they could then wake you up in the middle when the movement was there, say, what are you dreaming? And they recorded your whatever you said. Then in the morning when you woke up, they said, did you have any dreams? No, because we forget all our dreams. Then we would play the record and say, you saw this? No, but I can recall, yes, this must be me, because I'm saying it. We forget most of our dreams. But one of the characters there had a dream sequence, and we have several dream sequences, all of us, every night. That's what we found out there. But we forget most of them. Even the last one which we remember, when we remember and open our eyes, it fades away within seconds. We can remember the last part. Only very few dreams have some traumatic effect or some very good things that we can retain for a longer time. One person, while dreaming, felt that he was born and was growing up as a child, then he got adult, he married and he had a lot of children, he grew up, became a grandfather of children, and he died when he woke up. When he was dying, he woke up. The whole dream lasted 7 minutes. He lived a whole life in 7 minutes. And now this is a true story of a dream here. And when I saw that movie, I saw that they are saying that if you have a dream of 10 minutes, it can become hours in the first dream. A few hours in the first dream can become 50 years in the second dream. Third dream is permanent. So they had only gone to 3 levels. And I thought, look at us. We are dreaming from our true home, and we've gone the 6th dream. This is permanent for us. And what is the time there? No more time at all. It's a timeless moment. And the whole dream is taking place within that time. When we go back home, we'll discover it was all dreamlike. Just like we have a nightmare here and get up and say, thank God it was a dream, won't we say that when we wake up in our true home, that the whole experience was merely created to have a greater appreciation of what we truly have? I am sharing all these things with you because I feel that many people are already on the spiritual path. They are my co-travelers. We are traveling on the same path together. And some things have been missed out somewhere, and therefore they come and tell me that we have not made progress. I want that there should be daily progress. Little bit, little by little. Need not be a leap or jump into Sachkhand straight away, but little progress should be watched every day in different ways. I will talk to you tomorrow sometime at length. What are the signs to show if you are making progress or not? Because all progress is not measured merely by what you see in meditation, but by other things that happen in life. I will talk about that tomorrow. I'll take a break now and ask any questions if you have any. Well, that's a good question. Actually, I thought it will come up tomorrow because I haven't even talked about the sound yet. Today, I just talked of the very preliminary need to be behind the eyes. If you are able to concentrate your attention behind the eyes, sufficient, not all the way, sufficient to feel you are there, you will hear sounds inside. These sounds are not being created outside, they are being created inside. The outside sounds are like I am talking to you, that's an outside sound. Planes land and create sounds, a lot of other sounds which are outside being heard by the ear. These are sounds which are not being heard by these physical ears at all. But those sounds can also be sounds that are within the body and can be physical sounds. Those sounds range in about 10 or 12 kinds of different sounds, and they range from sound like a thunder, sound like a train stopping at a station and creating that echo, or sound whistling sounds, and sounds like crickets, sounds like little bells. All those sounds are coming from within, but they are being generated at our current level of consciousness. Then there is a sound which is coming from within ourselves, and that is a sound of our consciousness, because consciousness is not merely something that can be conscious of something. Supposing there's nothing to be conscious of, it still exists. And that sound of consciousness appears to be like a sound in the physical plane. As we go, consciousness takes different forms, of which I'll talk to you later. But in this state, in the physical plane, it sounds like sound of a bell. And it's a very compelling sound. That means the bell moves. Dong. You see, when you hear a bell sound, it's got a dong in it. That means there's a peal to it. Dong, then it goes on. It's the peal that pulls you within to yourself. So when you hear that sound, it is not necessary then to try to find out where you are. That is pulling you to yourself. It's a very big aid in meditation to hear that sound. The practitioner of meditation can hear the sound as soon as you have collected sufficient attention behind the eyes to yourself. So long as you collect it there, you'll hear the sound. The sound and the light both come from the same source, it's our own self. You can see the light and you can hear the sound within yourself. In fact, it can be, for those who have been doing meditation for a long time with little mistake here or there, when it comes back, it comes like so much light and so much loud sound, it pulls you off immediately from your feet. Some people get frightened by it also, if the sound comes too suddenly and the light flares. People who are trying to do meditation run to see where it all came from, because we are so used to seeing things from outside. I remember a friend of mine, he used to put on a blanket on his head to avoid seeing outside things and to avoid light, to meditate. And when the light came, it was so strong, he said, it must have come from outside. He threw everything and tried to run. So, a great master used to say, meditation, true meditation should be practiced in very small steps, gradual steps. So you get used to one step before you go to the next. Then there is no fear. Otherwise, since the process looks so much like dying, people get frightened. So step by step, but the moment you put your attention behind the eyes sufficiently, halfway, you'll hear the bell sound, and that pulls you up. We'll do some meditation experiments also today, tomorrow, and day after. So you'll be able to see when it comes. Good news is we never came alone. We came in a bunch, in a group, and amongst the group was a perfect living master. This arrangement I also saw in that movie I was talking to you about, Inception. If you notice, they carried a little totem in their hand to be able to wake up. It had a little rough edge on one side, so when they pressed it, even in the dream, when they pressed that, they could wake up. We also carried a totem in our hand, and the totem was called Perfect Living Master. Any one of us who said we want to wake up when we want to, carried the totem, and that was Perfect Living Master. When the souls did not divide into one and many here, they became one and many in the true home itself. In Sachkhand, in our true home, the one and the many existed, and the one and the many were possible in order to experience our true nature of love between one and many, right there. Each one of us had experience of one and many, and the many provided us the opportunity to know what love is between souls. And that was part of the original experience in our true home. And when the descent took place into different forms of experiences, we descended as a big group. In the book called Anurag Sagar, which is translated Ocean of Love, which is a dialogue between one mystic Kabir and his disciple, in that it is said how the negative power was worshipping with one leg in the river in order to get all the souls. This question of worshipping in the river, I don't see any rivers there. I don't know how he could find a river to put his leg in, but it is an analogy to show how people in holy places here, they do meditation by looking at the sun while they have one leg in the water, and it's just a means of explaining that this duality was created at that time, and several million of us, several trillion of us came together into one frame and carried the Perfect Living Master with us as our way of going back. So it did not happen the first person to be born was a perfect living master. The group that came, the tour group that came for this adventure had a guide with them. Okay. Since we have a little time before we break for lunch, I thought maybe a good idea to do some meditational exercises to prepare for meditation later. Now, those who have done this need not do it again, or if they want, they can do it again. These are not meditations. These are exercises I want to introduce to you, especially newcomers, those who have never meditated before. It's useful for them, so they can understand the terms I've been using, like attention. What is attention? What is concentration of attention? What is imagination? These three terms I want to explain through a couple of exercises. Now, what is attention? What is concentration of attention? What is imagination? If these three things are understood, we'll be using these three things all the way to go to the top of this three universes creation, and then through love and devotion go beyond. So I'll do two exercises with you right now, which we have done many times before in the groups, and some of you have done it if you attended those groups. The first one is called the orange juice experiment. The orange juice experiment requires that we think of our body as made of glass and is hollow inside. It's an imaginative process. By imagination, we think that the body we have is made of glass and completely hollow inside. But we can, through imagination, pour some orange juice into this glass vehicle. It is made of glass, so you can't move much in this exercise or the glass will break. So you have to be a little steady during this exercise on your body, in your seats. When I will tell you, then you become the glass body, then you pour, by imagination, then you pour the orange juice into every part of this body, from toe to head, and in the arms, and also in your hands and feet. Completely. The body should be completely full of orange juice. In this body, there will be some valves which can open and let the orange juice out, built into the fingertips of the hand and the toes of the feet. When I tell you, press your fingertips of the hand, the orange juice will flow out drop by drop. When I say stop, then you stop that. That means it's in your fingertips that you will be able to do this exercise of controlling the level of the orange juice. I will lead you into various levels of the orange juice. When the orange juice has gone down beyond the hands, then we'll use the toes. So this is the exercise. It doesn't involve much more than pure imagination. Now let's close our eyes and be upright in our seats and imagine that our body is made of glass. It's a hollow glass body, and now we are going to fill it up with orange juice, starting from the feet, all the way in the legs, all the way to the top of the torso, in the arms and the hands, in the neck, in the face, right up to the top of the head. Please fill up the orange juice in the whole body. How many of you could do this exercise successfully? How many of you had difficulty? We may try again sometime for those who couldn't do it this time. What were we trying to achieve by this exercise? What we tried to achieve was the power of imagination, that you could imagine this is a glass body, and the power to move your attention where you liked. You followed my instructions and kept on moving anywhere in the body that you liked. These are two things we will need. The attention, using of attention, you were able to, most of you successfully do it. Others will practice more. But if you are able to hold your attention wherever you like, according to this experiment, you'll be able to successfully do meditation also. We'll do one more exercise. In this exercise, you'll imagine that you are sitting in the head, that this body is a house. It has 6 floors. Starting from the bottom, the legs and arms are merely attached to the house. The main house is the torso, and you have 6 floors starting from the bottom. Then there's one, the genitals, one at the level of the belly button, one at the heart level, one at the throat level, one at the eye level. In these 6 floors in this house, you are sitting on the 6th floor behind the eyes. And you can see that there are other floors below. There is a staircase in front that goes from level to level. There's an elevator at the back, which will correspond to an imaginary staircase and an elevator running along the spine behind. So this is a nice house. You got an elevator if you like. You can go by steps if you like. But you happen to be at this time on the 6th floor behind the eyes. Sit in the middle of this house, of the room upstairs on the 6th floor. You close your eyes, 6 in the middle, in a chair, on a cushion, pillow, whatever you like, whatever you are accustomed to, or whatever is good for you for meditation. Put that pillow there, put that chair there, and get the best chair you can, because today it is free. You don't have to spend for it. It's an imaginary chair. And sit, relax on it in the middle of the 6th floor room. And when sitting there, also imagine that you have a side table, like this side table, next to you on the right side. On that side table, you have a cup of drinks like this, and you have a bunch of flowers in a vase like that, and you have some snacks in a cup like this, in a plate like this. So you have flowers and drink and snacks sitting next to you. So once you have done that, I'll tell you what to do next during the exercise. Close your eyes. Imagine you are living in a house which has 6 floors. You are on the 6th floor behind the eyes. Make sure the floor is very firm. You can thump your feet on it and see it is quite firm, and you don't go down during the exercise. Make it firm, put a nice carpet on it, a rug or a carpet, and make it a nice, beautiful place. Beautiful place with lovely chair in the center of the head, and you are sitting on it. And on the side table, you have a drink and the flowers and the snack. Now pick up the flowers from the table and bring them in front of you. And look at the flowers. Look at the colors. Have you seen these colors before? Notice them. Turn the vase around, see the other side of the flowers. Is something happening to the flowers? Now bring the flowers near your nose and smell. What kind of fragrance is this? Have you ever had flowers that smell like this before? Do you remember when? Now look at the flowers again. Have they changed color? Do they look different? Have you seen flowers like these before? Now put these flowers back on the table. Now pick up your drink and bring it up and see what color it is. Is it your favorite drink? Take the glass to your mouth, take the cup to your mouth and drink a little sip of it. How does it taste? Do you remember this taste? Take another sip. Does it still taste the same? Now put the cup back on the table. Pick up your snacks, the plate or cup of snacks, and see, are these your favorite snacks? Do they look the same? Take a bite and see how they taste. Now put them back again, the plate back on the table. Pick up the snacks again and see if they are still the same snacks you just had. Take another bite. What is the taste like? Do you remember this taste? Put the plate back on the table. Keep your eyes closed till I count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. Welcome back. How many of you could do this experiment successfully? Pretty good for first try. Why did we do this experiment? Only to show that sense perceptions are not based upon this body, that we could have the same perception. You could see, you could taste, you could do everything that we normally do here, but with none of these things here. How many of you were able to see flowers that are not ordinary physical flowers? Flowers that change colors. How many of you saw that? Very good. How many of you had a taste of a drink that you haven't had before? Very good. How many of you ate a snack that was not your imagined snack, but different? Very good. What does this mean? So many of you had snacks which you never had before. Where did they come from? You didn't imagine them because you only imagine things that you've had. So where did this come from? The world of imagination is created from the astral plane, the sensory plane. All imagination comes from there. We take imagine to be too imaginary. When you go there, you find that imagination can congeal into reality, can become reality. It's imagination here. It looks imaginary here because only the physical experience is real. At one time, we only experience one reality. When we are in the physical level of consciousness, this body and this world around is the only reality. When we are in that level, that becomes the only reality. This becomes less real. When you did these exercises, bulk of your attention was still in the body. A little bit went into the exercise. And therefore, it was still imaginary. Supposing more than 50% of your attention had gone there, all that experience would be more real than this one. Reality depends on your attention. It's amazing, but true, that where your attention is, that's what you make real. And your attention being in the physical world makes the physical world real. If your attention is at that level, that will become real. And when you go to the highest form, you'll find that your reality was from where your attention came out from. The origin of attention is your real home. So this is a beautiful way in which we can, through meditation, withdraw our attention and discover our true reality. So these two experiments were merely to show the power of imagination and the power of using your attention wherever you like, and to know that the sense perceptions exist even where this body does not exist, that the astral plane is responsible for our sense perceptions. Some of you may still have the taste of the snack in your mouth. Does anybody still have a taste in the mouth of the snacks? Yeah, very good. So here, there were no snacks and yet we have the taste in the mouth. There was a very prominent dancer in India, and she used to dance to astral tunes. She said she got inspiration from pure imagination from somewhere inside. I told her that you get all inspirations come from there. All big inspired works of art, works of poetry, works of drama, all have come from there. And you can go and see them. They're the origin of all these experiences. And she said, but I can't understand how you can call this world Maya or illusion. This is a real experience. How can you call it illusion? I said, I don't call it illusion. I call it created reality. Created reality in this way that when we have a cup of water, here I have a glass of water in front of me. How do I know I have a glass of water? I can see it. I can touch it. And finally, I can taste. I verified the reality of this cup of water because I had sensory perception of it. I used 3 of my perceptions to verify it's real. And since they were real, my perceptions were real. I actually had that experience, so the glass became real. Now imagine if the same thing had happened in a dream. In the dream, I saw a cup of water and I drank from there. The water would be as real as this. When I would wake up, I'd say, no, that wasn't the glass. Experience was real, the thing was not. When we say this world is Maya or illusion, we don't say it's unreal. We are saying it's reality created by experience. That your experience is creating the reality, and we, because we have the real experience, we think things that are creating it are real. Experiences are real. We attribute them to a world of matter which we think is also real because of our experience. And we have no other way to know what is real or what is not. We are very blinded that way. We have no test of reality except what we experience. And since the experience is always real, therefore we think the things that are creating the experience are also real. So Maya is not that there was no glass. The glass was confirmed by sense perceptions. The experience was a personal experience. But when I woke up, I found that the glass was created by my experience. It's only when you wake up, you can know it. No other way. Supposing in a dream, I were to ask 20 people, are we dreaming? They will say, no, we are real. I say, well, it's reality. I've checked with 20 people. When I wake up, there are no 20 people. The 20 were in my head. I created them. But then again, there's a difference. I may go and dream that I have met 100 people there. And I meet and shake hands with all 100. And some look very familiar, some look like strangers to me, but I meet 100 people. And I wake up. I find, no, they were all part of my dream. And yet I find out of the 100, 20 are my neighbors. They're living around, so they're real. Does it mean that in my dream, there was a distinction between 2 kinds of people? The ones that only dream created, and the one that were there even when I woke up. Though they were not the ones who were in my dream, but their copies were in my dream. What would happen if I find out of 100 people that when I woke up, I found 20 were there, the rest seemed to be all real strangers just made up for the dream. And I woke up again and found out of those 20 people, only 5 were really there, others were made up for the dream. And I woke up again. Supposing it's a multiple dreaming sequence that we are going through, and we finally wake up and we find there's only one, and that's the self and what we thought was the master, which are the same thing. That's exactly how it happens. That's exactly how we experience the many in an expanding way. It's a dreamlike state where we stretch out through this power of consciousness, the power of consciousness, it's all its manifestations, including imagination, that we can create experiences of the many while the dreamer is only one. So that is how the creation of the many has taken place. But this has not taken place only by going to these levels. It took place in the top level itself, where the one and the many coexisted. One and the many could get that experience of one or many at any time. And that's where the totality, the creator and the souls were together. And the experience of a soul was individuated from the creator, and you yet could at any time be the creator. It was a play. It was a play going on within itself. Then the play was extended down right to this level where we are now, and become a vast, wonderful experience of many. And so many, so we can experience love, we can experience the true feelings of joy and happiness and bliss, and also to appreciate better a true feeling of all these there, we also go through world of duality and fear. We get pain and fear and all that, for which we had a good device put in. The mind was a very good device. I think the best gift given to the soul in this descent was the mind itself. The mind could think. The mind could put things in a time frame. The mind could create karma by creating time and space. The mind can put events into time and space. Mind can create destinies. The mind was a very powerful thing. Mind can create negative and positive. Mind can create pain and pleasure, so that we could see duality at work, personally experience it, and go back home and find that there was no real duality. We wanted to see it in order to experience our own state. But if no experience can take place without duality, how do we experience our own true home? We experience our true home because the whole thing we created was duality to the true home. So the principle of duality even applies there. That if this creation had not taken place, we would never have known the truth about our own home. So the actual truth is that the creation and creator are simultaneous, just to sustain the experience of the creator. It's too good to look true, but it is all accessible to us. This whole knowledge and experience, not knowledge, not theoretical knowledge, not as an intellectual model, but as an experience you can see who you really are and how these levels have been created. Till we have the experience of the final state of totality, we can only go through one level of reality. It's made up like that. Because when we go to the dream state, we forget this state. It's the same process. We wake up from a dream and the dream becomes unreal. We don't seek proof for that. People say, prove to me that there's a higher level of consciousness. I said, prove to me you are awake. When you wake up from sleep in the morning, do you prove yourself you are awake? Do you pinch yourself? Do you ask your neighbors, am I awake? Would you consult somebody? How do you know you are awake? How does a person know he is awake when he wakes up in the morning before opening his eyes, before getting out of bed? We are still lying in the same position and we know we are awake. Where does this realization come from? Basically, the realization comes from the fact we remember we slept. We remember we went to bed or there. Supposing we had forgotten that we went to bed, we would never know the reality from illusion. So that can be a very big mental illness that we don't know whether we are dreaming or not. But we have certainty of wakefulness by recalling that we went to sleep. It's the same kind of reality that comes when you go to a higher level and you recall you were always there. It was a dream state from there that you got into this. So at one time, in this process of knowing yourself, you have one reality, only one reality, the others become dreamlike. Today, people have an experience accidentally or meditationally or by grace of masters and God. They get an experience which they know was higher than this. But when we are in the body and this becomes real, that looks like a dream. Wonderful lucid dream. I had a lucid dream. I felt I was there. Why? Because this has now become real. We always count upon one level of reality. When you go to the next stage, that will be the only reality. Then you will know it. You will wake up into that reality. Remember your own life there. When you awake to the next one, that's the only reality. It's only when you reach the top and become one with totality of consciousness, the one source from where we are all here. When you reach there, you will know all the realities at the same time. And all have been made up at the same time. You will know that this is a big show set up and you are at all levels, at all times, functioning. It won't be necessary then to say, let me close my eyes and go somewhere. You can function at any level, you'll be functioning at all 5 levels of consciousness. These are very basic levels. Within each level, there are so many different experiences you can have which look like higher and lower experiences. But the basic levels are the level of the physical world where we are sitting now, and all kinds of experiences we have here. And the astral or sensory system is non-physical. And there is no physical matter or body at all. And yet you are actually a being just like this one there. And the next is where there is no being or form like we have here. And it's just a thinking machine powered by your soul. And all concepts and all ideas, basic ideas are coming from there with no material formation which takes place only lower. It's a very wonderful state where the whole conceptual thing takes place. And then you go back home where no time and space exists, it's just been created. All events are there. Everything is there. All creation is there. It's all one unknown moment, one no-time moment into which it has just been spread out through these different levels to make it what it is. You can see all that. That's how it has happened. This is the biggest difference you will experience in different levels of consciousnesses, the difference in the experience of time. Here in the physical world, time is different. Here, time flows by watches and clocks. We don't go by what we feel. When we are happy and time flows, 2 hours have passed, we say, oh, only, it is 2 hours? We thought it's only 15 minutes. And when it's a painful situation, it's a long time, but the watch says no. And then we say, oh, the watch is correct. We are wrong. Our experience is wrong, but the watches are correct. Here, because the watches and clocks control our time, time flows tick-tock in a linear way, right from past to present to future. Or so we think. Now let me explain to you how this thinking that there is a past and present and future is very fallacious. It's very, even by common sense. I was advised by somebody to read a book called The Power of Now. And the man who wrote it said we should live in the now. And I want to ask a question to anybody who's not living in the now. I think the whole world is living in the now. I think they know the time to live in, except now. We are all living in now. We can't live anywhere else. We can't live 1 minute earlier or 2 minutes later. We are living in now, and now has no time at all. Because the moment I say now, it's past. It's not even in nanosecond, not even billionth of a nanosecond, this now in which we are all living. Yet it appears that we are living in time. I talked to you for so much time, I'm still talking in time. Where is this coming from? It's coming because we are mistakenly thinking immediate past as present. What has just happened, I'm thinking that is now. Because before I could think anything, it wouldn't be, it's a future. And now it's gone past. There's no time in the line which we call now or the present. So there's no really present. What we call present is merely immediate past. Then what is past? Past is nothing but memory. Does anybody else know any other definition of past? Can you say what was past except through your memory? So past is not anything real, it's a memory. Supposing somebody put a memory capsule into my head, I'll have all the past, that's in the memory capsule, it will become my past. So past is merely memory. What about future? Is there a real thing called future? Supposing we delete 3 words from all dictionaries: hope, fear, and anticipation. They all mean the same thing. Hope is a positive anticipation, fear is negative anticipation, anticipation is neutral. If we delete these and we don't have these functions in our head, there is no future. We are creating our future by these 3 things, the functions of our head. Functions of our mind creates a future. And how do we create? In the same time which we call past or present. We are always creating our future in the present by hoping, fearing, anticipating. Common sense tells us that these things are happening in the past. Therefore, if you carefully examine the nature of time we are having, there is no time in which we are living. We are creating it through memory. The past is memory, the present is memory, the future is memory. This means what is looking like a continuous flow of time is merely a capsule of memory, and that is what I call the DVD we planted in our consciousness in the Akashic records and created all this experience. But the time looks so real, like everything else looks so real. We can't halt this time. It looks like the time we have created here flows continuously. Nobody can stop it. When we were little children, we used to play a game called freeze. We were all running around and somebody would say freeze, and wherever we were, we put our hands up and stop like that. Then they would say unfreeze and we would start moving. But that was a game. In astral level, when you don't have physical bodies, freeze is a real process of stopping time, which you can stop at will. You can examine when you go to the astral level, you will find that the freeze is a real thing from where we picked up the game. And there, anybody liking a particular scene can freeze. Liking a particular thing to last can freeze. It's a freeze required only, like what we call here is being happy on something, and we try to be happy, stay long in a happy place, but we can't hold it. There we can hold it. Very big distinction between the experience of time there and over here. When we go still higher up to the causal plane, which is the plane only of our mind, there are no sense perceptions and there is no body, there time is stationary. We will find that time does not flow at all. Time is like a road. When you want to travel on a road, we don't say a road is flowing. We are walking on road. If you walk on a road, then the road is already there. We walk, if there's a house that comes on the way, there's another bridge that comes on the way. We don't say that we are now creating the bridge and the house. They're there. We are just reaching there. All creation in our DVD at the Akashic level is already the events placed on a fixed time. Time never moves. We move. We time travel. People said Egyptians knew how to time travel. I said we also know it. We are all doing it right now. We are all moving in the same timeline. Events are already placed. That's how that man could judge what I'm going to think next. That's how people can predict what's going to happen. That's how people get dreams what's going to happen later, because it's just a glance or something ahead. So all the events of life are already placed there. We are traveling through experience, step by step, frame by frame. We are going forward and think that time is flowing through us. We become old and we think, oh, time took us to old. We can see our old self right there ahead now. You can see your birth right now. The whole thing is pre-planned. We are not one body. We are millions of trillions of bodies. Moment by moment, from the birth till the death, we have had all these shapes. Somebody asked me, this explanation, does it mean that we are there now also? I said, of course not. We are where we are experiencing we are. But a body is. Our shapes are there. The shapes have never gone away. All the shapes of all levels are already stationed on the time, and we move on time and time travel. That's how we're having experiences. Now, this is not a theoretical model or theoretical explanation I'm giving. I am saying every one of us, through meditation, deep meditation, following simple principle of going within yourself, level to level, can have it and find out. It's very difficult to explain these experiences. It's very difficult. I always try to explain as best as I can. I always know I have not explained fully, because nothing really you can explain which is so distinct. We have taken so much for granted here, and we live that life according to what we have taken for granted. We can't imagine that the reality is so different, and yet the reality lies inside us. It's amazing that the reality is inside us. Oh, we worship God, we put Him outside, up somewhere. He's inside us. Our own totality is inside us. All these experiences are inside us. The more we go within, the more we discover of our own self, and yet we are spending all the time outside looking for the same things which are all inside. We go to church, we go to temple, we go to all the places thinking God might be there, and we are carrying that real church, real temple, real synagogue with us wherever we are going to find the truth. The real thing is inside. And how much do we care for the real temple? We don't care. We feed with it all kind of junk food, put our mind with all kind of junks inside the mind. What are we doing? We make our own temple with our own bricks and stones and say it's a great, nice place, clean, nice, worship of God is taking place there. And what are we doing with this real place? This head of ours is the real place, real temple. We are polluting it all the time. So we are not paying real respect to the temple that the Lord Himself made for us, and which is on our own body. And it's right on top of our body. This is the eyes, and the top is the real part. These eyes are a very big dividing point in this human body. The upper part is all about higher awareness. All realization of the self, all enlightenment comes from this part. Below that are all the centers of energy. 6 major centers, and they all spread out. These 6 energy centers give us all experience of energy, all kinds of energy they can give us. Concentrating attention on these centers gives us remarkable experiences of energy, but not of awareness. Higher awareness comes from here and above. This body is very cleverly made up. It's running not only as a physical body, it's very clever. As a physical body, it has got so many systems working in unison so well. And you imagine the digestive system, the circulatory system, the lymphatic system. Look at all the body. It's an amazing miracle. And a mother can produce this body with all it intact. From one sperm and one ova can join and carry with a DNA molecule, a small molecule, can just combine to create a whole body with the whole system intact. It's amazing. It's a miracle. But the greater miracle is that when this body becomes alive, the living part of it is all the other things being added on to it. The sensory perceptions, the astral body, the causal body, the mind, and your soul to make it everything alive. It's the soul that makes the mind alive. It's the soul that makes the senses alive. The soul that makes the body alive. That's the life force. Without soul, it will all be dead. If the souls decide to step out, everything will die. Not only this body, everything else will die. The soul stays. If the mind dies, everything below it dies. If the mind is alive and the sensory body, astral body dies, physical is finished at that same time. And if this is dying, all others are there. When the physical is dying, you can't dream, you can't go any further down. But with this whole structure intact, it's such a beautiful thing that's made. It's the top of creation. This human body is the top of all creation. You can go around, look at all creation at all levels and find what is the best thing that was made in this entire creation. Next to God, God created by its own power, by the power of, we don't know what word to use now. People have a hard time saying, who made God? I mean, if we say we are made by God, who made God? The answer is given in many scriptures. In the Rig Veda of India, in the Sanskrit edition of the Rig Veda, it says, in the beginning was the Nad, a sound. And the sound created all things, including the Creator. In the Bible, in James Gospel, same James Gospel, I found the opening verses are, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. All things were made by Him, and nothing was made that was not made by Him. Opening verses. The same thing in the other, I've seen the Kabbalah saying the same thing. I've seen other literature saying the same thing. And all are saying there's a power which can't be described, yet it made everything including God. And why did they call it word? Why did they call it sound? Why did they call it nad? Why did they call it the music of the spheres? Why did they call it by these words which are audible? The reason was simple, that even at the last level of physical being, we can still hear ourselves. We can still hear that power. Therefore, it's audible. The power of the self, the power of God, the power of the truth itself can be heard. So the best thing to use was a word or a song or a music or nod or something that says it is audible. So that is why we call it audible. That's the real reason, that at the physical level, we can hear our own self, ringing the bells inside us. No wonder I go to church and see bells in the belfry. They are ringing it, thinking that's the place. The bells are really ringing in here. They go to a Hindu temple, they ring bells themselves all the time. And those are just temporary bells. These ring forever. The ringing bells inside our head have been ringing from inception, from the beginning. They were ringing before we were born. They were ringing before this body was made. They were ringing before anything happened. And yet, we ignore that sound and go outside to listen to sounds. So when we are able to pick up the sound of the self, the sound of consciousness itself, that means consciousness, if it is not conscious of anything, is conscious of itself. It will be like a resonance, it will be like a frequency, it will be like a sound that's audible. Certainly at this level. So that's why that's a great key for us, that if you want to find who you are, follow the sound of your own self. That's why this principle of following the sound, I have found personally to be the best principle for good meditation, which they call different kind of yogas they describe. Different yogas lead you to different experiences. But the yoga which we call Surt, Shabd yoga, the yoga of the Surt and the Shabd and yoga. Surt means attention, Shabd means sound, and yoga means union with your own self. It's a simple statement, Surt, Shabd, yoga, the yoga of the attention upon the sound leading to union with your true self. And I find this is the best system to follow the sound. We'll talk more about it, practice some of this as we go along. I want to now introduce this brief lunch break for you. We'll meet again 3 o'clock. We'll do some meditation session and also answer any more questions if you have given. And I have found that there's a lot of people who wanted one-on-one interview with me. I'll be very happy to meet you individually. Okay, thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch. I see you.